Okay, so I guess we can save our scene. So basically, I am going to provide these folders. I created them. Every other shot will have the animation and the camera, and then um, you'll have the opportunity to kind of recreate these setups. Or maybe to your liking, maybe you want to run it on another kind of a scene. But okay, let's save this as 170, the exact same setup. I'm gonna remove the template from there, template file, which was 60. Okay, so pretty much everything is intact here. Of course, I need to get my proper camera for this shot, and this is gonna be my offset. If I need to do a little offset, which I do in this one, render cam, is it exactly like that, or render camera, sorry, to make sure that we have the names correct. Okay, generally speaking, I don't really change the direction, but it should be okay. What else? We're gonna need the animation, of course, so I'm gonna pull this, and we do not really need from this angle the enemy ship, so we can get rid of it. And if you look at the render view, this is our angle. And what else do we need? We are going to need a little water sim, obviously, which we're gonna set it up from here, and do the Whitewater as well. We don't need the rubber toy for this shot. You can leave it if you want. Yeah, let's just do a little cleanup. We don't need it for this shot. What we need is our cannon setup. Okay, first thing first, let's do a little test on our ocean. Well, we don't need such a big ocean as well, and this one we can kind of, I think, customize it a bit better. I think if I just bring this guy here for visualization, this is our render grid. We don't need such a big render grid as well. Let's just optimize everything as much as possible. And you guys come here. Oh, let me do this a little bit faster because I think it's trying to. I'm just going to turn all this off. Okay. So for this shot, right, we have a ocean surface that we don't see most of it. So let's kind of make this smaller even that much. Okay, that should do. So now we can actually render that one as well. This could be actually the size of the preview grid. And if I look here, that's feeling a little too hectic. So let's make maybe it's like I'm just gonna make this small for now so I can go faster. Maybe I don't know. Let's make it bigger, and we'll just have to hit render to see what's gonna come out. So let's do that because it is important. Let's do let's duplicate this ocean render. Now the pots and everything should be okay. We shouldn't have to change. We will need to change the frame range to 1030. Okay, now let's do a little test with only let's get the USS Missouri. Okay, render view. We want to test ocean render view. So this is just going to be the ship itself. I think the resolution is too much here. No, it's fine. No, we're doing like 4K, I think, almost. What's going on? It's maybe my test camera was too big there when I copied it. Yeah, it's 4K. I'm gonna do this HD, so it's not that slow. Hit render again. Okay, now it's HD, 100%. Okay, let's now do the water. Okay, let's stop the render. So what we are rendering is the live ocean, right? And this is the render grid with the UV project. I don't need this. So let's see what comes out of it first, and then let's adjust accordingly. Okay, ocean live. Okay, don't explode. Okay, waiting. Just doing some displacement. Okay, it's too choppy. So I'm gonna switch my shader of RS displacement live. Okay, so this one is the display single. I'm gonna use the not the distributed one, but the other one, which is ocean surface. I forgot its name, so I'll find it here. Just displays. Okay. Back to material and say I just want to use Jan displays. I still want to multiply that with a noise. I don't think I need this bump at this level. Let's hit render. Let's see what's going to come out. Okay, now we don't have enough detail. So we need to kind of get that right. Okay, let's go back to here. I think we could try, maybe it's, okay, I'm going to drop this to, actually, let's, well, it's not that difficult based on what we're seeing there. So I guess we could, oh, because it was also 9 resolution. So I'm going to do this smaller. And then let's increase it to 12, which is a 4K map. It just feels too, is it because I have too many points? Maybe I do. Let's do a less distribution. Let's do a 50. Okay, maybe 100. Okay, and maybe one of them bigger. This is too much, maybe 0.25. Okay, let's try 0.5. Oop, 0.5. Okay, I'm gonna try this one now, see what comes out. Okay, a bit more in line. So what I can do now is I will try to make this feel a bit more watery. So I'm gonna kill this. And I think there is detail, it's just there is no breakup, proper breakup. Maybe let me do this test here. So it's gonna be a little bit faster. We can see it a little bit faster out. I'm gonna say, was it like this? Now it should be, I should tell it which one it is, right? Okay, I am going to go into my shader again. Gonna play with gonna disconnect this guy, and I'm gonna plug my surface, my nose to my surface, because I want to see and we can do half res. Okay, I want to see the the noise. That's what I want. Um, but let's do half res. So it's a little bit faster as you're testing this. Okay. Let's back to the shader. So we do want some noise, right? But maybe smaller. No, that's too much. Too small. Let's say 500. Okay. Now this is just the reflection. Just the reflection. Okay. I do want to have some breakup underneath here, just as if it's a little bit shallow, let's say. Um, we don't need the blocker, not yet. Ocean floor. Okay, so I do want to add a little bit of a noise to this. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is this big enough? It's too big still. Okay, I'm gonna replace this with my render grid. I'm just gonna make it a little bit bigger while it's in here. Okay, the only thing is that this is supposed to be like, 50 meters down or more. You could do more. Um, and I do want a new material there. Ocean, do I have it? No, I don't have it. Okay, let's call it ocean floor for this one. Okay, and yeah, that should do something. So let's hit render and see what it does. Assign. This was already assigned actually. Ocean floor. Okay. Let's bring this guy into our rope to make sure that it renders. It's actually rendering, but we didn't see it. So let's see it first. I'm going to remove the ocean live to make sure. Actually, no, I don't need to. I can just make the ocean live really transparent. And this needs to be visible. Okay, and let me make, I can't see it much. I want to make sure that the colors are working. So I'm just going to remove this for now. Hit render. Okay, it is there. So let's change the color of this to make sure that the noise is working as intended. Okay, so there's some noise here. Maybe give it a bit more different colors. Maybe a little bit, I don't know, green. No, it's not working. Very hard to see what's happening. Okay, maybe something like this. Okay. Um, like this, it's too bright, I guess. It's the roughness. Maybe it's the reflection. Okay, let's leave it like that. We don't need to do anything else. Okay, now let's enable. So that's our ocean floor, let's say, right? It may be not too deep, but that's good enough. Now, if we go back down and enable our ocean live, let's see if we can see through some of that color variation by playing with the shader. Okay, I guess we can do, if I put 0. Okay, if I put 0, I see everything. I even see the shadow. Maybe that's too much though. So let's do 60. It's still there. I think I barely can see the shadow as well. Okay, I'm gonna leave it something like this, maybe 70. Do I see it? I think it's just barely visible. Okay, let's kill this. Now, let's plug in our displacement back. Let's hit render again. Okay, a bit more tropical watery now. I do, however, still want to make sure that this works a bit better. So what if it is kind of working. I think we can use a bit more bigger waves. So let me try. Let me try by changing Let's see from here actually. So these are the second waves, which we are not using actually. We're just using one. What if I do one? Okay, let me hit render, see what comes out with one. No, I think they're too big with one. So let's do 25. I think because we're changing, it needs to recalculate the wave size and the EXI. I think we just need to restart the render. I think this is a bit more like it, to be honest. It kind of makes more sense. I want to see what happens if I change the ocean floor color a little bit more. Okay, so this is with, like, actually this kind of makes more sense, to be honest, but we could probably introduce a little bit different color. What happens if we give it a little bit of emission? Where is it? It's somewhere here. There. Okay, 2 million. All right. If you want to make this a little bit darker, or we could play with the settings, but I guess for this angle, this reflection is good. The amount of detail seems to be reasonable with the resolution of 12. And now we need to add the sim to it. We could and if you want to if you want to make it a bit more tropical, you could change the anisotropy, or I guess you could play with the reflection colors. If I do this fully like this, or if I leave it at 0 with 0 depth, it's a bit interesting as well. So I'll leave that to your taste, but I think I'm gonna go with something around this. Okay. Next, let's go back to object level and let's fix our cannons. So I guess we can pull this down a little bit here, create a new geometry and call it cannon sims. Okay, now first we need to create some animation for our cannons, and I guess, is this what I did here? Yes. So actually let's do the cannon geo. Let's call it turret anim. Let's dive inside. So I did something very simple here for the bullet. Is basically a sphere cut in half, extruded, rotated, and here is a round. Okay, from the view again. Now there are 1, 2, 3 main turrets, and they fire in an order in the movie, so we're kind of like following the same thing. I'm going to, these are basics, just some basic soap operators, so I'm just going to copy this here so you can see what's happening. Now I pulled in, I'm going to hide this. I did an object merge of the just this barrel, and I just repeated 3 times. And then I did end up doing a selection of the front ends, and I guess I can show that. if you select a face and then do Shift A mid, oops, let's select one and then next one. If you do Shift and then press A, it's gonna highlight the loop and oh, do it. It's gonna highlight the loop and then with the middle click, you'll select the loop, and that's basically what I did here. These are my selections. Now I then decided to create an attribute called connectivity, so it's 0 to 2. And I did an assemble, basically pack them, create pack primitives, and then I moved it to somewhere else, and then I merged them. Okay. At this point, I have piece 0, which is the first one here. Then I have another piece 0, which is this one here. So they have a matching attribute, right? And then I promoted the name from point to primitive, and then I packed them again based on name. So I have now piece 0, piece 1, piece 2. So I group them. So this one is piece 0. This one is also piece 0. Okay. Now I'm looping them based on the primitives are the same. So if I now go inside the loop, it's going to select the first one to first one. Actually, I think this probably didn't need that. Should have worked like this maybe. If I say by attribute, if I say name, would that work? But maybe it needs to be a point attribute. Could have, maybe like this. Basically, I'm trying to create a line between them that I can use. And well, it actually this doesn't work like this. Okay, well, so here's what I did. I isolated the first starting point and then the last. I unpack them. Then I create the, I don't know why I create the group. I create the group. Basically, then I use add sop by group, and it just creates a little line in between. So then if I loop this through, I have 3 lines. Okay. The next thing I do is paste this down here. So now what do I have? I have a carve attribute. So what does a carve attribute do? It does an animation. Like it carves the curve basically. Okay. And which means, and if I animate the carve, say like, I'm saying at this first frame, I'm animating it. And if I go now, copy my, because the curve itself has a point, right? It has 2 points. Well, this one has 3, so it has 6 points. And now if I copy my bullet using a copy sop to those points, it's going to also add them at the end, but that's not important because it's off screen. And now basically I just have a very basic animation of a bullet. And pretty much I did the same for the other bullets and ended up with a network like this. I just repeated it 3 times. And now my bullets are firing with a difference. And they just have this time offset to say that, hey, do the exact same thing, but new position just 2 frames later. Okay. And pretty much that is the result of the bullets firing. Well, not here. It starts from 1001. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. 1001. Now our sources are there. This is good. Okay. We have our bullets. Normally you get these as an animation, maybe Alembic or whatever the pipeline outputs. Now, so these rounds don't make trails. That's correct. Because I was asked that they wouldn't, but it's a movie, and we're making movies. And within uh, the in in the movies we can bend the reality. Obviously, they're not documentaries. If it looks more cinematic, why not? So I mean, my bullets are making the trails because in this movie the uh, the rounds are making trails basically. And let's go back to our setup then and create our own trails. Okay. So what did I do for that is let's go inside now the Canon sim and let's because we use those as a I think they are used to render something. So let's drop an object merge, pin it. Let's go into the turret and let's get the trails here. Okay, so what am I getting? I'm getting the curves. Okay. Now I'm just literally passing this down into a popnet. So just drop a popnet. All I need is some particles and it needs to start from 1000. So I'm just going to go back to 1000 here for this layer. And by default, right, it's just generating particles. Now, there's a couple things that I did as well. I get these advected by the volumes, but we're going to add that after. So in here, I just really need these particles. I don't need to see the guide, but this is a bit too straight now. So let's just drop in a pop force. Okay. And give it a maybe, these are the values I used. So they're just going to start moving around. Okay. We could probably use it more, but we're going to have, well, I guess we can increase the amount and then we can tell it to stop. So basically what I did is that my constant activation is $F less than 10. So it aims for 10 frames and then just put another 0. Look from the camera view. Okay, I guess we could maybe increase the roughness here a little bit. Let's just see if it breaks up more. Okay, maybe 30 is too much. I don't know why I use 30 in the, well, let's do 20, the size. So it's gonna have, okay, I think I'm gonna use two. One with a really small swirl value. Okay, this feels more like it. Okay, so one is the wide noise. The other one is the narrow noise. And this one is really it. It's just that we're going to add a bit more advection from our Pyro sims, but they're going to come here later. We need to build those first. Okay, then attribute delete. And we're going to create some attributes from, so let's get rid of what we don't need, which is age, velocity, ID. Now, these are my sources for my trails. My trails are not actually particles, they're volumes. So let's convert this into volumes. And I have to cache this level because it's really fast sim. So let's drop in an attribute noise. It's going to be a float. I'll call this density. Among the many other ways of doing this, obviously. The other one is temperature, just different offset, but we call it temperature. Okay. Now I'm going to drop down a volume rasterize attributes node. I'm going to say voxel size is 0.1, maybe particle scale is 0.1 as well. And at this point, and I'm gonna say basically do the density, and it's going to give me this density, right? Oh, I have some random particles here. Why? Do I have a source there? I do. Oh, maybe it's because I didn't set my emitter to use negative interpolation back by using point velocity. No, I still have something there that's not supposed to be there. I guess we can just put a box to delete it. That should not be a problem. Oh, it's because we didn't set the start frame. I think, yes, that should be better now. Should still do the same, except it will be in the correct place. Which means if I visualize this, as long as I'm looking at the correct place, where is it here? Okay. And I think that would be it, right? There's no other thing anywhere else. I'm just trying to make sure that the bounding box is correct. Okay. No, it's not just, it's supposed to be just showing this basically. But if I come here, make it, I still have something here. It's still emitting some, I have a source there. Do I have a source there? No. Well, easy fix. So let's do this. Let's look through our camera and let's play here. I guess we could use one of those setups we did for in an older scene. Let's open one up and do the frustum culling. Since it's too light, we can do the outside the dot network one. Just gonna open the old file, not the old file, the main file, to get the frustum culling out. Okay, which is this one. And oh, did I not save the clean file? Oh no. Oh, well, I'll have to clean it up again, I guess, before I give you guys. So, bummer. Okay, where is it? Where is it? It's in, I think we used that one in Whitewater. Somewhere here, frustum culling. Was it here? Nope. Isolate. No, it's not here. Volume bounce, clean up. No, not this one as well. We did use it somewhere. Basically, I'm looking for, I guess, this. Well, I can just, I did use it outside somewhere. I'm just gonna copy this, create it here. Attribute wrangle, paste, create. So this one breaks when you copy paste that. This is supposed to be not a float, but camera node is supposed to be operator path. Apply, accept, select the camera. Okay, now it's working. Cool. Which means if I now focus, it's gonna focus on the center where it's supposed to be. Okay, cool. Moving next. Let's close this. Okay, I'm just gonna put a Pyro Solver now. Go to the first frame. Let's leave it by default at the moment as it is. I'm gonna change the settings. So let's go into sourcing. So it should be density, temperature, and velocity. I don't have a burn field. Um, the shape settings for my current version was buoyancy at 0, and I just have disturbance, just have turbulence basically set to 2. With a swirl size as 1 is fine, and the voxel size is 0.1. Let's press play. What's going to happen? So it's emitting. There's something happening. It's just a residual smoke, and it's going to spread after. And when it renders, it's going to render better because the display is not as accurate. And I'm going to do a little bit more cleanup. Just keeping the name. So here and all this stuff, and here just keeping the name and the temperature. Even I don't even need the temperature actually, because I'm just rendering this as a not even need a velocity, I guess. I just need the density and something like this. Yeah, that's gonna be okay. And we're gonna cache it out as usual. So let's come here, fire trails, but not like this. We changed our caching, how we cache. So if I open my scene again, and okay, let me get one of those pots just to make sure that we are following the our naming conventions. And it's literally there actually. But we can just do this and then do this. Obviously, that's gonna be easier. And now version is fine, this is fine, and this just needs to be cached to the correct frame range, which is 1001. I'm just gonna do that. Since these are only a couple, it's a single shot, and you're just gonna use. I'm not gonna bother with the tops network. There's not much of a benefit to it here. Now, let's do the explosions. Now, let's set up another object merge. And this time, I guess, we get our bullets. Okay, and I'm just going to make sure that I am not fetching the bullets outside, just the inside one. I'm just going to delete these, if that's the correct one. No, I delete the opposite. Well, it could be fine. We could do this. Select, delete, reverse. Okay. Now I got the positions. I don't need them traveling. I just need the positions. I'm just going to put time shift. I'm going to kill the expression, and I need them at 1001. So they're at the start point. Now, I think I'm missing one. Oh, maybe we didn't select it. Okay. Okay. Now, if I do a middle mouse, I have grouped them in where they're coming from. So we had these groups, right? So I could use them now for blasting. So for my first one is going to be group 1, looking from the camera view. Delete non-selected. Okay, now I have here my 3 bullets. Okay, and I'm going to put an assemble node to this to pack these guys. Okay, so create packed, and I guess just turn on create pack. Yeah, that's fine. And in points, you'll get these pieces, right? It's one too many actually. They're not connected, I guess. How is this? Is it somewhere else? No, that should be fine. Um, okay, it's peculiar because this should be based on connectivity, and these are connected. But why is it giving me 6 points? Okay, let me double check this. We could do by name and name attribute. There's double geo. Okay, we could, I guess, lost. Just keep 0, 1, 2. Okay, now it should be 3. Cool. Now I'm going to put a Pyro burst source. Pyro burst source. And so it's going to give me something like this, right? What I'm going to do is that for the burst shape, I'm going to set 2.8. Okay. And my direction is towards where I'm shooting. And since it's not a rig, I'm just putting this manually. Okay. And if I look here, so it's kind of like already pointing that way. I'm using blast rings actually. Okay. And rings per blast is 5, 3. So adding a noise to it. Size is 0.39. Roughness is 0.733. You could just play with these, obviously. Burst animation. I'm doing use attribute. And if I press this, it's going to create a node here. And it's going to be start frame. So that's going to be min max. So set always random start frame and min max. So 1004. And the rest is pretty much same. And burst components, I think I did play here. Scale along trailing, scale over duration, I guess. This is what I have. I believe that is all output attributes. No output attributes, add velocity noise, definitely. And I believe that's it. Now the next thing is volume attribute, volume at, well, this guy, volume rasterize attributes, plug it in, and well, this needs to be a density. Now this time temperature, burn, and velocity. This is what we want. The voxel size, we're gonna plug it to the sim. Pyro burst source. So this is pretty much it, I believe. Now, if you use it from the shelf tool, or if you create it from, I guess, config, and there's gonna be a Pyro configure fireball or Pyro configure shockwave. That's gonna pretty much set or Pyro configure ground explosion. That's gonna set all these up for you basically. Okay, we're just I'm just showing you manually how to do this. Now, if you put a Pyro config, because that's how I started it, or maybe you could just say which one was the aerial one? Pyro trail, Pyro shockwave. I guess one of these should work. Aerial explosion. If I paste this here, we can start using the solver from there. Just grab this guy. So make sure that we have the same settings. Okay, and now for the first one, we start from 1001. So I did change some settings. My voxel size is, the final voxel size is 135, but we're gonna double that now for speed purposes. I'm using a double project, so this is kind of like, you know, it kind of keeps things rolling a bit more, but generally speaking, you could always start from the beginning. So my bounds are untouched, but I have a closed bound at the bottom, so that's representing the surface velocity. And the resizing, this one is a little bit important for fast-moving objects. I'm enabling external velocity into new tiles and expand by velocity, and my minimum padding is 1 unit. Okay, now collision. I don't really have a collision here, just shooting forward. And I'm faking the water collision by using the bounds. So the sourcing, I did change density to force. I turned off trail density because I don't have it. I changed the temperature to 2. I did change my burn flame to 3. The divergence state as it is, velocity is 0.4. Okay. Now fields. I am emitting density. So dissipation is turned off, sorry. I am emitting density from flame at the, I set it's like 10. I'm emitting from flame, but it is, I think now I just set the emission scale to 1, and I believe flame lifespan is 10. Okay, I wonder if that's gonna look okay. So the shape, yeah, the shape is important. So I have this like disturbance set to 100, buoyancy is 0.5, and disturbance threshold range based on density set to 1, speed 0 to 0.1. And I think that's it. Let's no, flame expansion set to 1. Let's see what comes out of this. I'm gonna save first. Let's see if this is gonna work at all. And it pretty much didn't do anything. Is it because the density is not strong enough? Let me double check from my scene if this is still working. Yeah, in my scene it works. In here it's not working. I guess I could just... Okay, let's investigate. Probably I didn't turn on something. The setup is fine. Set the sparse. Double project. Bounce is correct. Let me copy this. See what's the difference here. If we go node by node. Okay, that's what we should be seeing, but we're not seeing it. Instead, we're seeing nothing, so there has to be a reason. Let's follow from here. Okay, bullets, bullets, many bullets here actually. And assemble. Okay, adjust, adjust. There's way too many duplication there. That should not be the problem though. Okay, let's have a look at here. Okay, maybe I'll just copy this one to see here if that's the difference. I'm just trying to find where the difference is coming from. Oh yeah, okay. So Pyro burst source was not good. So this is kind of, ooh, there's the difference here, I guess. Um, is it the velocity blur? Yes, we don't have the velocity blur turned on here. So let's turn on the velocity blur. 1, blur samples 32. Okay, let's try this guy again. Okay, it's still not working. So we has to have another something different. Okay. Okay, let me pause and I'll find the difference. Okay, so yeah, it was just a missing attributes here and there. I was using coverage attribute as a density. It was just a mismatch of attributes, but now, I match the attributes one by one, and this is using the same setup. So I guess I can now go back to 2 to kind of like run it to see what it does. Okay, so this seems to be working. And basically now we're gonna save these. So this is the first one, right? So paste. I don't need this anymore. This was just bad attribute copying. Okay. Now I don't need you also. Let's organize our site a little bit better. Okay, so this comes here. That's good. So this is going to be the fireball 0, 1.